Right, hello grade 11s. Functions, lesson 3, the parabola, or also known as the quadratic function. Parabola or quadratic function is how it's known. This is the formula where it is already being factorized slightly, or we also call it completing the square, which I will show you in class when I see you. So, first of all, some orientation. If this A value here is positive, then the graph will have what we call a smiling face. You remember from our exercise. It means the graph will have a minimum turning point. If A is negative, it will be a frowning face or a graph with a maximum turning point. Very important. The shape of the graph, as A increases, the graph becomes more narrow. So if this A getting bigger and bigger and bigger, the graph will become more narrow. So just remember that. The turning point itself is P and Q. So it comes from this P with the opposite sign. If it's a plus P, it will become a minus P. If it's a minus P, it will become a plus P. And then Q remains like that. So that is your turning point. Remember that now. Minus P and Q. And of course, this dotted line is called the axis of symmetry. That means it splits the graph into two equal symmetrical parts. And it is x equals to minus p. Very important. Then the domain means the graph, the area from left to right. There's no restrictions. The graph goes out to infinity. So therefore, x is an element of all of the real values. Then the range is up and down. So it turns at the bottom of minus p, then it goes up to infinity. So there you are. Either you can say y is greater or equals to q, the y value, or you can write it like this. One element of square bracket q because you include q, and round bracket for infinity because you don't know where is infinity. If a is negative like this, now the range is from minus p down. That means y is now less than q, or round bracket, right, from negative infinity to positive q. Is it clear, guys? Cool. Let's look at the example now. Example 5. There's the equation given. So from this equation, you can now gather what is A, what is the turning point, etc. If you must sketch this graph, let's see. First of all, the thought process. First of all, A is negative, so the graph will have a smiling face or a maximum, negative, sorry, it will be a frowning face. Then P is a plus 1, so the graph will shift once to the left, and Q is 8. So the turning point is at minus 1 and 8. The y-intercept, we just make x 0, and we get the y-intercept, which is 6. Then there's a rough sketch. Y-intercept is 6, turning point minus 1 and 8, and a frowning face. But then you see the graph will have x-intercept. So to find the x-intercept, you make y0. You make y0, solve for x, and you get x is plus 1 or minus 3. So the final graph, there you are. X plus or minus 3, y-intercept is 6, turning point is minus 1 and 8. Cool. Next example, same here. First of all, some thought. A is positive 1 in front. So it's a graph with a minimum turning point or your smiling face. P will be opposite sign. It will be plus 1 and of course 2. So the turning point is 1 and 2. Right? The y-intercept make x 0. You get 3. So there you are. There's a rough sketch. And you'll notice there's no x-intercept. So therefore you don't have to carry on. That is then the final answer. That is your final graph. Cool. Okay. Right. Next lesson, I will give you homework. All right. End of the lesson.